Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a non-Tron Kano Tryharding Modern video today, where we're going to play Eladamri's Toolbox. Now, this deck is basically a green-white toolbox deck around Eladamri's Call that focuses on playing out a whole bunch of lands, some pretty broken land ramp early on, to try and power out Primeval Titan and Dryad of the Elysian Grove with some Valakuts, and then your whole Field of the Dead, Valakut Prismatic Omen interaction where you just like nuke your opponent off the face of the planet. And it is a very strong tier 1 deck. It's not the most represented powerful deck behind Uro decks. That's actually Hammer Time right now, but I haven't got the chance to play this one yet. And I got a deck list, I loaded it up, and found out that I actually have all of the cards for it, which is probably a byproduct of me building the Battle of Wits deck. Either way, let's go ahead and see how we can do with this deck. I've never played a deck like this before, other than the Battle of Wits one, so this should be a learning experience. I don't expect to do very well with my first try, but we'll see what happens. I'll see you guys in round 1. Alrighty, round 1, here we go. I would like to play first. This is a relatively slow start. I think I'm gonna mulligan. Okay, well, I mean, maybe this works. I'm not sure. Keeping this also feels like a bad idea, but this deck does run 33 lands. I'm gonna try one more time to get a 1-drop. Alright, that didn't work. So we'll put back Valakut. Actually, no, we kind of want Valakut, don't we? We'll put back Eladamri's Call. No, maybe I shouldn't do that either. This is going to be tough. I think I'm going to put back Field of the Dead. Alright, keep in mind I have no idea what I'm doing. Pass the turn. I think I would like to draw Bounce Land, maybe? Alright, my opponent is playing a red deck with a Goblin Guide. So this should draw us a card, and it did. That's pretty sweet. So, play a Forest. We'll explore, play Castle Garenbrig. Oh, it enters untapped. I thought this was going to enter it tapped, but then again, I don't play with Castle Garenbrig all that often. Draw me another land, Goblin Guide. We only play 33 of them. Alright, Path to Exile on top of our deck. This really feels like my opponent played a 1-mana Phyrexian Arena for us, where we're drawing cards and losing 2 life every turn. And that's pretty awesome. So my opponent starts with a Suspended Riftbolt, and I guess just... Oh no, 2 Suspended Riftbolts. Okay. Well, we draw Path. If I play out Dryad, it just gets bolted, but that actually might be okay. I'm going to start with Explorer here. Alright, we can play Windswept Heath, Blast Zone. I could play Dryad and play Forest and leave up Path. Actually, can I? Well, we're playing a land. Do we want to play out Dryad? I think we should, because even if my opponent kills it, then... Oh, wait, hang on. If I play Dryad and then I play a land, I can just Lightning Bolt down the Goblin Guide. I actually kind of like this. So fetch with Windswept Heath, get a basic Plains. Play Dryad, play Forest, kill Goblin Guide. I should have played the Windswept Heath last, so I'd have access to another one. Pass the turn. And actually, if my opponent double Rift Bolts our Dryad, I might just Path our Dryad to get another land. This deck feels busted, and like the opening hand that I had just felt like garbage, but I have no idea what's good and what's bad right now, so... I'm just going to try and play this on intuition alone of what the most powerful thing I can do in any particular moment is. Okay, opponent goes face. If that's the case, then playing out the Dryad was definitely the correct choice. This probably means that my opponent has either more Lightning Bolts in hand or, like, Light Up the Stages, and they needed to get damage in this turn. All I can tell you is if I draw Primeval Titan, the game is over. And I think this particular list I'm playing doesn't even play Summoner's Pact. My opponent suspends another Rift Bolt and passes. We untap. We draw Primeval Titan, and I'm pretty sure that's it. That's just everything. So play Primeval Titan. We can get Valakut Vesuva on Valakut. And if that's not enough landfall triggers, I could path my own Titan. The only concern would be my opponent is main decking Path to Exile here. Or has a way to, or like dismember somehow for Dryad. So we get Valakut and Vesuva. Copying Valakut. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Always yes, always yield. Nice! That wasn't broken at all. Do we have anything for burn? Do we need anything for burn? I don't know that we do. I think we're, like, kind of okay. Like, we could bring in Rexage for, like, a Bombat Courier or a Eidolon of the Great Revel. We don't really need Grave Hate. Celestial Purge feels like too slow for removal because we're already main decking paths. I think we just run it back and see what happens. All I know is Goblin Guide is amazing to see on the opposite side of the field when you're playing a deck that is literally over 50% lands. I mean, we're kind of even playing 33.5 lands because we have Tangled Floral Hedron, which can be a rampant growth creature. Like, it can be in... What is that card? There's a 2-mana 2/1 elf that taps for 1 green, and that's like the front side of this card, and the back side of this card is just a tapped forest. Could you imagine, even briefly, if Summer's Bloom was still a legal card? Because when that card, like, when they banned Summer Bloom, I was really under the impression that, like, a Summer Bloom ramp deck would be okay when it was banned, and, like, they should have banned Amulet or Titan or something else. But seeing the kind of shenanigans I can pull off without even having access to Summer's Bloom, or Summer Bloom, is like, no, they banned that card, and rightfully so. Let's see, so I can play Forest, Flagstones, Eladamri's Call for Springbloom Druid, and then ramp out a ton of lands. That's not bad. We can play a Skyclave Apparition after that. I think we mulligan for something a little faster. This works. I'm going to keep and put back Bojuka Bog. Alright. Elvish Reclaimer plus Flagstones of Trocaire is really, really powerful. Opponent starts Inspiring Vantage into a Goblin Guide. It's exactly what we want to see our opponent start on. And we draw the Flagstones. Second Reclaimer, too. So play land, play Elvish Reclaimer, pass the turn. If they let us untap with Reclaimer, that's going to work out very nicely for us. Which means that our opponent has to waste burn on a 1/2 when we're still at, like, almost 20 life. So our opponent attacks with Goblin Guide, no blocks. Eladamri's Call on top of our deck. Man, could you imagine if they had to, like, path or something here? It would just defeat the purpose. Suspend Riftbolt. Play a mountain. Skewer the critics. Yeah, they had to waste burn on that. So we draw Eladamri's Call. So we're going to play... I think we play out Flagstones and Reclaimer, then leave up Path here. Pass the turn. So Riftbolt coming off Suspend. And if they kill Reclaimer with this, I'm not even going to be upset about it. I could Path Reclaimer now. Does that let me do anything more broken next turn, having access to 4 mana? I don't think so. I think I'm actually better off still pathing Guide. Because it prevents them from skewering or lighting up the stage without being able to do direct damage. So if they don't cast a burn spell or another haste creature, I think pathing Guide is the correct choice. If they play another haste creature, I'll leave Guide around and path that. So opponent attacks. Explore on top of our deck. I can work with that. We'll path Guide. Opponent plays a Scalding Tarn and passes. We untap, we draw Explore. Start by casting Explore. We draw Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Play Tangled Vale and Wooded Foothills. Pass the turn. The only way this got better is if I had an untapped land for Eladamri's Call. We're still at 16 and it's turn 3. Opponent fetches up a Sacred Foundry. So they have a Riftbolt. Or no, they used Riftbolt, right? Yeah, we just exiled Goblin Guide. Okay, they untap. They have 4 cards in hand. Alright, they're tapping 1 red. Lava Spike. Okay, we're down to 13. Eidolon. Sure. Like I said, we could have brought in Rec Sage for that, but we would take 4 damage, tutoring 4, and then playing a Rec Sage, and it's only good in this scenario. They play a land, and then they're basically out of burn. Okay. Crack Wooded Foothills. Get a Temple Garden tapped. We untap. We draw. Path to Exile. So for minimum damage, Path Eidolon. Take 2. Then play Eidolon, or Dryad of the Elysian Grove. This should have been an Eidolon. It should not have been a Dryad. Or it should have been a Dryad and not a Nymph. Did they update it so that it's a Nymph Dryad? Because I'm pretty sure in paper it's just a Nymph. Okay, we draw a Forest. Let's go ahead and... Eladamri's Call. We'll get Spring Bloom Druid. Play a Forest. Green, green, green. Play Spring Bloom Druid. Man, Harrow has never looked so good as an effect. Harrow being the 3-mana spell that sacks a land to get like 2 basics. The only thing Harrow's got over Spring Bloom Druid is that Harrow is instant speed, and that the lands it gets come in untapped, I believe. Alright, so we get 2 basics, so Plains and a Snow-Covered Plains. Then Flagstones goes off, and we get a Temple Garden. Then I am going to attack for 2. Next turn, if we draw a land, we can Eladamri's Call for Primeval Titan, and that probably wins the game. So my opponent plays a Monastery Swiftspear. They don't attack? Really? Alright. We draw Primeval Titan, which is better than having to tutor for it. So play Primeval Titan. We will use Primeval Titan's ability, and we get, I think, just Valakut. Shoot Swiftspear and our opponent 3 times. If my opponent has 2 spells they can cast in response, so they can keep Swiftspear alive, but they would have to go to face, and then, like, we just leave back blockers and there's nothing they can do. If I wanted to try and be safer, I could have fetched a Radiant Fountain, but I think just getting double Valakut is better, because, like, any land off the top becomes better in this scenario than it would be if we'd gotten the Radiant Fountain. And the difference between 10 and 12 life for us is not that huge. The odds that my opponent has some card in hand that is... Like, the odds that my opponent is holding a land is actually quite high. Yeah, I don't know if they really stood a chance this time. Like, there could be a scenario under which we're dead. Like, if my opponent is holding Lightning Bolt, and they top deck Boros Charm, then yeah, they got us, but... They're floating a red. Alright, they got a Lightning Helix. Targeting Dryad. So they're double bolting Dryad to prevent us from hitting them with a ton of Valakut triggers, because Valakut has an intervening if clause. So we don't do any damage, but now my opponent is drawing nothing, and we have an Eladamri's Call, so we could... Next turn we could just go get another Primeval Titan, get a Valakut and a Vesuva, or get a Vesuva and a land of any kind, like a Field of the Dead, and then attack with Prime Time, and then just blow them out of the water. I think my opponent needed to throw those at my face. Or, like, what I meant was Eladamri's Call for a Dryad. The second Primetime thing doesn't work, but that definitely wins. Alright, well, I mean, for a naive first attempt with a deck, that seemed pretty good and fairly powerful, so I will see you guys in round 2. Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. If there's like a high-pitched whistling noise coming in on the mic, I'm very sorry. One of my cables is overlaying something that it shouldn't, and I cannot for the life of me figure out what it is. I can hear it audibly, but I don't know if it's getting picked up on the mic or not. So, alright, we probably have better starting hands than this. I believe this counts, so I'm going to keep this, put back Bajuka Bog, and we'll start Temple Garden tapped. Pass the turn. What is up with... Did that get moved? What got moved over here? Okay, well, opponent's turn. They start Swamp into a Thoughtseize. They can take Eladamri's Call or Dryad of the Elysian Grove. They take the call. We untap and draw Wooded Foothills, play a Snow-Covered Forest, pass the turn. Could have played a Temple Garden there. Opponent plays a Magmatic Channeler. We draw Windswept Teeth, play Wooded Foothills, fetch a regular Forest, play the Dryad, play the Temple Garden, tapped, pass the turn. Now, Dryad's probably not long for this world, but if it makes it to next turn, we get 2 lightning bolts off this Valakut. Okay, Liliana for our opponent, making us sack a permanent. Well, creature. Take 1. We untap and draw Explore. So start with Explore. We get a Flagstones. Play Valakut. Play Flagstones. Pass the turn. So opponent will uptick Liliana. We lose Windswept Teeth. Opponent discards Kroxa, plays Polluted Delta, cracks Polluted Delta, gets a Swamp into a Blood Moon. Main deck Blood Moon might be hard to beat. We get a Primeval Titan. Well, I'm not going to not play it. So in this scenario, I guess we just get whatever lands aren't legendary. So we can get like Field of the Dead, Field of the Dead. That way if we draw... Well, if we draw Skyclave Apparition, we can't do anything about it. Opponent has to probably sack Liliana if they don't hit a removal spell. They hit a Blood Crypt off of Magmatic Channeler. A downtick Lily to kill Primetime. I'm glad I fetched a basic Forest. Okay, second Blood Moon for our opponent. Come on, Primeval Titan. Another Valakut. Play a land, pass the turn. Alright, Magmatic Channeler gives them a Lightning Bolt to cast. They Lightning Bolt us. And presumably they play Kroxa here. Them having Kroxa is a lot worse. We untap, we draw Cavern. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and concede. So, we need Rex Sage. And probably Celestial Purge here. I could actually play Kozilek as a way to win the game under a Blood Moon as well, because we ramp so hard. We just need to be sure that we get basics. What do we drop for this? I want to bring in these cards. What are our other worst cards? I think I actually can cut a couple of lands. Some of the utility lands we won't need. But I mean, is there enough of a benefit to doing that? I'm not really sure that there is, actually. I have 5 cards I want to bring in, but like I don't know what I would cut is the problem. I don't want to cut like all of our land acceleration. Like Tangled Floral Hedron dies to everything, and just being a tap land's probably not good enough. Eladamri's Call doesn't usually need a tutor for a land, so we can take that out. Skyclave Apparition is a good answer to like Liliana. Path is a slightly worse answer than Purge against like a Kroxa, but I still want Path. Reclaimer just dies to like everything, but helps us accelerate. Oh man, I do not know what we cut here. With a list with this many non-land permanents, or non-land spells at least, it's kind of difficult to do this. Perhaps we cut like, I don't know, a Reclaimer. I'm going to cut 2 Reclaimers and a Path, not bring in Kozilek. No, you know what? I'm still going to bring in Kozilek. And I'm going to cut a Dryad and 1 land. And that land is going to be something we have a redundancy for. Probably Ghost Quarter, actually. I don't think we're going to need Ghost Quarter. Okay. Very weird sideboard, but this is my instinct for the sideboard. I don't know that it's actually good. So we have a lot of basics here. I'm going to keep this. We'll start Forest into Reclaimer. We can fetch up a basic Plains if we so desire. Opponent starts Blackcleave Cliffs into Thoughtseize. They take Path. We untap, draw Castle Garenbrig. So I'm going to play a Blast Zone because I suspect I won't need Blast Zone. We should have at least 1 turn before my opponent can play a Blood Moon. So we're going to cycle out Blast Zone for a Flagstones of Trocaire, and if we untap, then we can ramp out a basically, well, most of, if not all of our basics. Opponent thought seizes, but that's not very good against a hand of 4 lands. And they play a Blood Crypt tapped. Alright, so we sack Blast Zone, get Flagstones, untap, draw Castle Garenbrig, sack Flagstones, Flagstone's ability goes off, get a Plains, and I'm gonna get another Flagstones, just so we can kind of keep ramping. I don't really have a reason not to do that. Then I'll play Temple Garden tapped. Pass the turn. So my opponent can play Blood Moon if they want. They Fatal Push our Reclaimer and pass. We draw Wooded Foothills. Play Windswept Heath. Pass the turn. We do want a second basic Plains if our opponent has Blood Moon. They crack Bloodstained Mire. Play a Swamp. Into a Seasoned Pyromancer. That Pyromancer discards 2 Blackcleave Cliffs. Okay. So they don't get any tokens. They play a land. We're going to fetch, getting a basic Plains. Untap. We draw Cavern. Play Wooded Foothills. Kind of just thinning the lands out of our deck, so we can find an Eladamri's Call. We're like good to go. Opponent doesn't have a fast clock or anything right now. Okay, opponent plays Bloodstained Mire, cracks Bloodstained Mire, and finds a Swamp. Plays a Magmatic Channeler into another Pyromancer, discarding Lily, making a token, and drawing 2 cards. Okay, they attack us for 1. We're going to get a Temple Garden tapped. Take 2. Untap, we draw Dryad. I think I'm going to hang on to Dryad for a minute. Pass the turn. I thought it was higher. I thought it was a better likelihood they would have a removal spell than another Thoughtseize, so I guess I got punished there. But I was pretty sure after 2 Thoughtseizes they weren't going to try and Thoughtseize a guy who they know is holding 3 lands. But, I mean, alright. We untap and draw Explore. So go exploring. We get an Eladamri's Call. Is there anything I can tutor for here that makes a difference? Probably like Skyclave Apparition might. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think it has to be Skyclave Apparition. I don't think anything else does it. Play a Forest. Play the Apparition. Take out the 4/4. Play Castle Garenbrig. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent Fatal Pushes. They get a 2/2. And we are 1 damage from dead. But opponent has no redraws, so they hit us down to 1. We untap. We draw Celestial Purge, and that's not going to do it. Alrighty. I'll see you guys in round 3. Alrighty. Round 3, here we go. I would like to play first. I mean, it's not the fastest, but it looks like it would be good, so we're going to keep. I think we're going to start by fetching a Temple Garden tapped. Alright. So play Windswept Heath, pass the turn. Opponent starts City of Brass, Serum Vision, so we are against Ad Nauseam. This is the only deck that plays those cards that I know of. Unless this is a very janky 5-color combo or something like that, but I really, really doubt that. I'm almost 100% Ad Nauseam. If they suspend a Lotus Bloom, it is Ad Nauseam. Alright, we untap. We draw Flagstones. Play Field of the Dead. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Play a Gemstone Mine. So the most threatening thing here would be a Pentad Prism, because that potentially lets them go off next turn with a Simian Spirit Guide. Yep. Okay. I'd actually like to draw Skyclave Apparition. Okay, another Flagstones, so play Flagstones, play Dryad, then play Windswept Heath, pass the turn. No real reason to crack Windswept Heath. If we're going for like a Valakut kill, we could potentially need the extra landfall trigger. Alright, opponent playing a Temple of Enlightenment is encouraging, because it means we're probably not dying this turn. Alright, we untap. Castle Garenbrig would actually be a pretty good draw here. We draw Forest. So, play Forest, play Snow-Covered Forest. Play Primeval Titan. So, Primeval Titan, gonna go get, I think, Valakut. Yeah, I don't have a land that disrupts them in any way right now, so we'll just do that and try and do a bunch of damage. Okay, always yield the Field of the Dead. Always yes. Always yes. Okay. Always yield. So I can take my opponent down to low life, but I can't kill them because I don't have quite enough land drops this turn. So my opponent does get one more chance to combo off. Attack for 2. Well, they could have more chances to combo off if they have Angel's Grace, which is possible. Opponent Angel's Grace. They play a land. And it looks like we're dead to ad nauseum. I mean, we kept a really slow hand, so... Alright, and this is the Thassa's Oracle version. There's no reason for me to see their entire deck list. Okay, I want Rexage. I want Collector Oof. I want Eidolon of Rhetoric. And I could want Ramanop Excavator. There is a possibility for that. Path to Exile is coming out completely. So I guess I'll bring in Ramanop Excavator. And we'll try it like this. Alright, we would like to play first. I do like the Explore, and I kind of like Ghost Quarter. My opponent's deck generally only plays, at most, 3 basics. There is a chance we can turn Ghost Quarter into Strip Mine against them, which would be incredibly powerful. Unfortunately, we don't have a... what's it called? The Crop Rotation Elf that I can never remember the name of to start this hand off. I think that would be the only way this hand gets any better. So my opponent starts by suspending Lotus Bloom, playing a Clearwater Pathway, and casts Serum Visions. I'm just going to go ahead and get a Temple Garden right now. If we can use something like Collector Oof to shut off their artifact mana and follow this up with like a repetitive Ghost Quarter, we can win basically any way we want. Alright, we draw a Elvish Reclaimer. So, play Flagstones, Explore, we get a Reclamation Sage, play Ghost Quarter, pass the turn. I could actually Ghost Quarter myself there, and actually get an untapped green land to play Elvish Reclaimer. Opponent plays a Temple of Deceit. Next turn, if I draw a land, I think I'm actually going to go with the Ramanop Excavator. No, I want to play the Dryad first. We do need to draw a land. Okay, Explore is not what I asked for. Play Dryad. Pass the turn. Lotus Bloom ticking down. I want them to play a basic. Okay, opponent casts a Serum Visions. If they leave a card on top, Ghost Quarter gets more effective. If we can draw a land and can Ghost Quarter a couple of times, or 3 times next turn, that would be ideal. They put 1 card on the bottom and 1 card on top. So as long as they don't draw an additional card here. Okay, land? Land, please. Alright, it's a land. So, play Snow-Covered Forest. We're going to do the only thing we can, really. Play Ramanop Excavator. Ghost Quarter, Temple of Deceit. They didn't float mana, so that's good. They get a Plains, get Ghost Quarter. If this is the Ultra Greedy version, they only run like 1 basic. And if we can stop them from having white and black mana, that matters the most. Alright. The odds that that actually does anything is pretty low. So they get to cast Lotus Bloom this turn. If they have an untapped white source, we lose. Or an untapped color source and a Penthead Prism. If we can untap and play Rexage while Ghost Quartering them twice, it's game over. We crack Lotus Bloom for white. For Phyrexian Unlife. Okay, that is good news. Yeah, they literally can't beat us with that. Sweet. Cool. I'm just going to run it back. Don't think we need to make any adjustments here. Okay, we have Collector Oof in our opening hand, so we are going to keep this. We'll start Castle Garenbrig into Flagstones. Opponent starts Dark Slick Shores, Serum Visions. Odds are they're going to need removal for Collector Oof if they want to combo off. Okay. We'll start Windswept Teeth. Getting Temple Garden is basically free. So Lotus Bloom's ticking down. Opponent plays a Gemstone Mine into a Penthead Prism. So we're going to fetch up a Temple Garden. We untap, draw another Flagstones, play Flagstones, play the Collector, pass the turn. So now all their artifact mana is useless until they can find a removal spell for Oof. They play Gemstone Mine. We untap, draw Snow-Covered Plains, play Ghost Quarter, hit Dark Slick Shores. The plan is to Eladamri's Call for Ramanop Excavator, I think. Alright. I should have attacked. I clicked through it, I didn't mean to, so that was a slight punt. So, Lotus Bloom's coming off Suspend, but they can't be used. Opponent draws a card. Okay. On their end step, cast Call, get the Ramanop Excavator, untap, draw Primeval Titan, play our other Flagstones, keep the untapped one, search our library for a Plains that we can get out tapped, play the Excavator. I don't think they have anything that hits only attacking creatures, and they definitely don't have any flash blockers, so attack them for 2 with the Oof. Okay. So we will be Ghost Quartering our opponent twice. So play Ghost Quarter, hit the island. Opponent floats blue mana. Explore. Play Castle Garenbrig. Explore. Play Ghost Quarter. Pass so our opponent's mana pool empties. Okay. Hit the Plains. They either have one more basic or we start strip mining them. Okay, so they are going to Lightning Storm. So we discard a Snow-Covered Plains. We get to choose a target for Lightning Storm when we choose their face. Oh, it's so mean, but against a deck with 33 lands, we had to have lands in hand, right? Alright. I clicked through it again. It doesn't really matter, but like... between that and maybe a Slaughter Pact is all the removal they're going to have. And even if they had a land to discard, we still had 2 more, so we were going to win that. I didn't take that into consideration when I saw how my opponent was playing, but... Okay, opponent Spoils of the Vault. So what do they name? I should have definitely attacked them. I missed 6 damage. Yeah, they would be dead. They would be dead had I actually attacked them when I was supposed to. So if my opponent just has the combo, we lose. That would be pretty feels bad, but I would also deserve this. Okay, they crack for white. They get Phyrexian on life. They crack for black. Yep. Alright, well, my opponent did exile Thassa's Oracle. So now it depends on whether or not they have a way to win still in the deck. Because they exiled Thassa's Oracle to Spoils of the Vault. And they've already cast Lightning Storm. So if they have a second Thassa's Oracle or a second Lightning Storm, they can kill us. Ooh, it doesn't look like they have it. We also got lucky, it would appear. I mean, if they're holding one... Do they have another Lightning Storm? Okay, they're filtering... Unless Thassa's Oracle was their first reveal off of Ad Nauseam. I'm pretty sure they exiled it. Our opponent either doesn't realize this or has a redundant copy. And yeah, they didn't realize it. Alright. Well, we got lucky, but we should have won anyway. I just clicked through combat twice, so... Sorry for everybody screaming at me. It absolutely did matter. I will see you guys in round 4. Alrighty, round 4. Here we go. This hand's a little slow, so I'm gonna mulligan. I mean, this hand is also relatively slow, but at least I can get like a Dryad or something. So we'll put back a Prime Time. And as long as we don't lead on Valakut, we'll be fine. Ah, Tron. Start Forest, pass the turn. Let us see what variation of Tron this is. It's almost certainly green Tron. This could be natural Tron, too. Draw Castle Garenbrig, play Flagstones, pass the turn. Nope, it's Eldrazi Tron. A very odd build of Eldrazi Tron. An odd build of Eldrazi Tron missing its 3rd land. Alright, so we're going to tutor up Dryad. I could get the Apparition and get rid of the Hanger back, but I'm really not worried. Get Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Untap. We draw Skyclave Apparition anyway. Maybe we do that. But next turn is just... It's so much better if we have Dryad out, so I'm going to do that. Play the Snow-Covered Forest. Play Dryad. Play... I guess Valakut, because it's a tap land. And Windswept Heath. Oh no, I already played my land for turn. Never mind. Pass the turn. And next turn we can just Castle Garenbrig out Prime Time. That should probably do it. So opponent has Dismember, so they don't immediately die to Valakut. They play a Chalice on 0. They attack for 1. That's fine. We untap. We draw another Dryad. Play Dryad. Play land. Play land. Valakut the Scion away. Opponent uses the mana to put a counter on Hangerback. That's fine. Then we play Skyclave. I'm glad we don't play Summoner's Pact in this version because of Chalice. Skyclave down, Hangerback. Pass the turn. And next turn we just Primeval Titan kill our opponent. As we get Valakut and... Oh look, a Battery Shaper. Cute. Untap. Draw another Castle Garenbrig. So, play the castle, shoot our opponent. Actually, that was wrong. I should have done that last. Always yes, always yield. Play primetime. And the game is over. Okay, so versus Eldrazi Tron. I think we want Rexage, Dismember. We may want Collector Oof. Not 100% on that one. I think I'd drop the Tangled Floral Hedron and like a Bajuka Bog, because we don't really need to exile their grave. Yeah, and we'll try like this. I could play even Mind Sensor, but I don't think that's necessary. Sure. I mean, the hand is not particularly amazing, but we do play a 3-drop that actually interacts with most of our opponent's game plan. I actually like how Thoughtseize-proof this deck is. It's very nice. We draw Primeval Titan, so start Temple Garden tapped. Pass the turn. Next turn, we can play Field of the Dead. Opponent plays Urza's Tower. We untap. We draw and explore. So play Flagstones. Explore. Another Flagstones. Play Field of the Dead. Pass the turn. So my opponent can get Tron here. The only way that this really gets us is if they have like 2 Thought-Knot Seers. If they get Karn, we can just exile Karn. Okay, they hit us with a Reality Smasher. That's pretty good. Dryad off the top, please. Okay, Castle Garen Brig. Unfortunately, Skyclave Apparition does not hit Reality Smasher. We need double green to activate Castle, so play Castle. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an Eldrazi Temple. They have access to 9 mana now. Alright, 8 mana. Just like a big hangerback. Or a Walking Ballista, maybe. Walking Ballista X4. We untap. We draw Ghost Quarter. So to activate Castle Garen Brig, we need another green land. So play Castle. Only problem is now, even by casting Primetime, we're not turning on Field of the Dead. And we can't get a Radiant Fountain to gain life here to help us stay alive. So Primeval Titan will get a Blast Zone and a Valakut, I think. Yeah. That kind of sucks because we had to play 2 Castle Garen Brigs. We didn't draw any other green lands. I suppose I could have Ghost Quartered myself. And that would have done it. Opponent plays another Eldrazi Temple. If they can cast like an Ulamog and Exile Titan, it's game over, but other than that, we should be fine. If they attack... Actually, if they just attack and put a counter on Ballista, we lose. And literally all they had to do was attack and put a counter on Ballista. Because if we blocked here... Oh, they're still going to kill us, okay. Well, they found it. They found a line that works. That line's a lot cooler, because it's got 2 spatial contortions involved, but we were dead without any help. Okay. So I won't keep a hand that's that slow. Got it. Yeah, just run it back. I could play Linvala. I don't think it's necessary. We'll play first. Yeah, this is an early Explore, so we'll keep... start Wooded Foothills. Pass the turn. Fetching up Temple Garden gives us the option of Eladamri's Call on turn 2 if we want it. We're probably just going to Explore, though. Okay, opponent starts Eldrazi Temple Expedition Map. Crack Wooded Foothills, get Temple Garden, tapped. We untap. I wouldn't mind drawing a Ghost Quarter. Okay, play a Forest. Explore. Blast Zone. Play Field. Pass the turn. So, my opponent... They're going to have a Reality Smasher next turn. They get Power Plant. If Reclaimer survives, we can get the 3rd Valakut. Okay, opponent plays Smasher. They dismember Reclaimer. Okay. They attack us for 5. They're dead to any land if they attack. They don't attack. So, tick up Blast Zone to 2. We untap. They're dead to a fetch land. Castle Garenbrig. So, play Castle. Kill Smasher. Make a token. Can I activate Blast Zone and play Primetime? No, I'm a mana away from that. It's very close, though. So, go to combat. Attack for 4. Okay, my opponent goes down to 5. They untap. And they scoop the match. Nice! I'll see you guys in round 5. Alrighty, final round. Let's go. I have to say, actually playing a currently tiered deck that's like fairly good versus playing something like Tron, which is kind of fringe at the moment, it really makes a difference. I'm going to keep this because like comparatively strong, and I'm sure Uro Omnath would be, I don't really feel like playing that, even having the cards for it, but like playing Uro Omnath must be playing like, feel like you're playing power, you know? Like this, playing this versus playing Tron feels like I was playing Magic with the brakes on. Like when you leave the parking brake on and you start driving around. Not that I've ever done that, but I imagine the feeling is similar. Like, I should be going faster. My vehicle should not be making these noises. I still got to where I needed to go, but I got funny looks getting there. Like, so, opponent fetches and shocks Overgrown Tomb into a Fatal Push. Okay. Sorry, I had to restart the client there. So, we passed our turn, upkeep, draw. Just going to play a Temple Garden out tapped. Pass the turn. I doubt I'm going to need to path here. My opponent might be on traditional Jund. It's really the only thing I can think of that plays Overgrown Tombs and Fatal Push. It could be Jund Death Shadow without Luris, which would be interesting. Okay, opponent Inquisitions. They can take literally path, and that's it. And then they play a Nile Spellbomb, which we don't really care about. Play a Temple Garden tapped. Pass the turn. Alright. Opponent plays out a Renin 6. Picking up their fetch land. Replaying their fetch land. Cracking it. Getting a swamp. They may just crack Nile Spellbomb and draw here. Play Windswept Heath. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent Spellbombs to draw a card. Lose our grave. Opponent plays a Verdant Catacombs, cracks it. Gets a Blood Crypt, tapped. Picks up Verdant Catacombs again. Crack Windswept Heath. Get a Snow-Covered Forest. Untap. Draw an Elvish Reclaimer. Play Valakut. Play Reclaimer. Pass the turn. Opponent bolts the Reclaimer. So they kind of need a Thoughtseize to stop us from getting Titan out. And they pick up a land. Play Verdant. Crack Verdant. They get an Overgrown Tomb tapped. And they pass. We untap. Draw Snow Forest. Play a Plains. Play Primeval Titan. We can get Field of the Dead. And one other land that we don't have. Probably like Flagstones, I think, would be most useful. Or Bog here. Get Field of the Dead. I'm going to go with Bajuka Bog. Exiling my opponent's grave. Get some zombies. Okay, pass the turn. Opponent Assassin's Trophy. Get a Plains. Get another zombie. I guess if they have Maelstrom Pulse, we could be in trouble. They Lightning Bolt a zombie. We really would like one of them to survive so that we can hit Renin 6. They crack Nurturing Peatland. Take up Renin 6. They cycle, or they cascade into a Kroxa. And they get a Bloodbraid Elf. We discard Snow-Covered Forest. Because if we draw a Dryad, this is great. No attacks. We untap, we get a Primeval Titan. So, go to combat. Attack with both at Renin 6. Opponent chumps with Bloodbraid Elf. Renin 6 takes 2. Play Primeval Titan. We're going to get Field of the Dead and Selesnya Sanctuary. Get a bunch of zombies. Pick up Bog. Replay Bog. Exile our opponent's grave again. Pass the turn. Yeah, wow. The deck trying to 1-for-1 can't beat Field. It's that's something. So we're going to bring in Celestial Purges, because I'm expecting things like Liliana that we may need to deal with. We don't really care about the Grave Hate. We could want like a Kozilek, maybe. What do we take out for Celestial Purge? Maybe like a Reclaimer, a Path, Floral Hedron, and random fetch land, I guess. Purge just seems like it's going to be more efficient removal 9 times out of 10. So we'll put that to the test here, I suppose. We can keep this because we do have removal. I dislike not having ramp, though. I'm going to mulligan. This would almost be better if we had green mana. Mulligan again. Alright. We'll put back Field and Valakut. So my opponent starts Blackcleave Cliffs, Inquisition. They can take Call or Explore. They probably take Explore. Call could be scarier, though, because we could have like a very strong Call target. To take Explore. I think that's what I would have taken there. We draw Castle Garenbrig. Play Windswept Heath, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Barrenmoor. Crack Windswept Heath. Get a Temple Garden. Tapped. We untap. Draw another Castle Garenbrig. Play Flagstones, pass the turn. Opponent misses a land drop. So play Eladamri's Call. Get Dryad. Untap. We draw a Radiant Fountain. Play Castle. Play Dryad. Play Radiant Fountain. Gain some life. Pass the turn. And if our opponent doesn't have removal for the Dryad, we just Primeval Titan our way to victory. Opponent plays Liliana. Upticks to make us discard. So we discard Castle, and any untapped land gets us to Titan. Well, it's not an untapped land. Unfortunately, we have no way to make it an untapped land either. So go to combat. Attack Liliana for 2. I think I hold on to Vesuva and discard it to Liliana Uptick, just to protect Primeval Titan. My opponent should know that I have Prime Time in hand. Losing out on Vesuva does suck a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Opponent pitches a Tarmogoyf because they have no green mana. Okay, opponent passes. Untapped mana, please. Well, that's a path. Go to combat. Attack Liliana down to 1. Hold on to path. This is very awkward. Not drawing untapped mana in a deck with 32 lands instead of 34 because I sided 2 out. What a mistake. Kano, what is this, amateur hour? So discard path. Opponent discards Blackcleave Cliffs, and they pass. They must have instant speed removal of some kind. So go to combat. Attack Lily. They could have a second Liliana as well. So we're going to give up on this Primeval Titan, because I can't just not play cards for the rest of time. So we're going to get a Forest and a Plains, and then a Snow-Covered Plains. Alright, pass the turn. So my opponent needs Liliana 2 or a Thoughtseize, and they have to make us discard. Okay, opponent plays Choke. It's pretty good. I mean, if we draw a path, we could path our own Dryad and we'd be fine. Okay, second castle, play it, go to combat. Attack for 3. Hit our opponent down to 15. I mean, we could also just draw, like, Valakut and play Valakut, and then all of our lands is lightning bolts, effectively. It's like chain lightnings, because they're lightning bolt at sorcery. But it plays a Wooded Foothills and passes. We draw a forest. Play a forest, go to combat. 2 more lands, and we can cast this Titan. Hit our opponent for 3, down to 12. Boil would have been a lot better than Choke there. I wonder if my opponent is also playing Boil. They fetch Wooded Foothills to find an Overgrown Tomb tapped. If my opponent has Boil, it is definitely correct to hold lands in hand. They Thoughtseize our Primeval Titan away. They go down to 9. They're going to Surgically Extract Titan. Well, we don't need it to win. It just makes winning easier and faster. They Maelstrom Pulse Dryad, so our lands untap. We draw Flagstones. Play Flagstones, go to combat, hit our opponent for 1. Opponent untaps. They bolt the 1/1. We untap and draw Reclaimer. Play Reclaimer. So we just need Field of the Dead to start. Alright. Get a forest. They got rid of our land tutors. Come on, Field of the Dead. Opponent plays a Tarmogoyf. Sure. We untap. We draw Field of the Dead. Play Field. Get a zombie. Pass the turn. So I'd like to draw Flagstones of Trocare, or a fetch land, or another Field of the Dead. We're going to take 6 here. That's fine. We untap and draw Eladamri's Call. So Eladamri's Call. We can get an Elvish Reclaimer, but let's just get Skyclave Apparition, I think. And just take out this Tarmogoyf. Go to combat. I guess by not playing it immediately, I'm opening myself up to a Kolaghan's Command that would be super punishing, but they would have to have exactly that card. Hit them for 2. Opponent goes to 6. Play Apparition. Kill Goyf. Like, Elvish Reclaimer, the upside was higher, but we take 6 more damage to do that. And my opponent's on a 2-turn clock this way, and they're top decking. And they're apparently drawing lands and cards that don't matter, so I think we've got this here. We draw an Explorer, go to combat, hit them for 4. Okay, opponent goes to 2. Explore. We get a Path. Pass the turn. We could now Path our own guy to get another zombie. Or Path the token that our opponent gets. If their only option is like removal on Skyclave to get a blocker, we could then Path the token. We did it! Woohoo! 4-1! Alrighty. So let's open our treasure chests, then I'll talk about the deck for a minute. 15 play points and a Chronozoa. Alright. Treasure chest number 2, we get 5 play points. Oh, I think that is worth money. Ancient Tomb, Zendikar Expeditions. Ooh, it's not that one. It's not that one. Which one is it? Zendikar Rising Expeditions? This card is worth 17 tickets. I'm going to hold on to that because I would like to get into Legacy and Vintage, and that is played in a few decks. Also, it looks sweet. Treasure chest number 3, we get 5 play points and a Bedlam Reveler. Bedlam Reveler, I believe, is worth something as well. Bedlam Reveler, it's 40 cents. And an Eyes of the Wizened. Treasure chest number 4, we get 10 play points and a Hero of Erois. And final treasure chest, we get 5 play points, an Academy Ruins, and a Shelldock Isle. Now, Academy Ruins may be worth something, but I believe it is not. It is not. Okay. Yeah, so playing this, where did I put it? So playing Eladamri's Toolbox, or Eladamri's Toolbox, or however it's actually pronounced, because Kano can't speak English very well, despite being a native speaker who has spoken it all 26 years of his life. This felt like playing Magic with the brakes off. Or, yeah, with the brakes off. And the Battle of Wits deck feels like playing this deck with the brakes on. But like, and I mean, same with Tron. Tron felt like playing Magic with the brakes on. But this is like an actual tiered deck that has real power, and even though I didn't know what I was doing, I still 4-1'd with it, despite making several mistakes. And And I don't really have a lot to say. I don't know what Linvala is for on the side. I imagine it's for Heliod Company specifically as a way to shut down Walking Ballista, Heliod activation, that sort of a thing. But, like, the deck is... It kind of reminds me of playing something like Devoted Druid Vizier combo, except with an inevitable finish. It's not quite as fast, and it doesn't go infinite. And its main combo doesn't necessarily kill you upon cast. It sometimes will let you have a single turn before it actually kills you, with something like all the Valakuts and stuff. But the deck felt solid. Like, I don't really have any complaints. Despite the fact that we're playing, 33, 34 lands in the main deck, we 4-1 to a Modern League. And we could have 5-0'd if I had been paying attention and knew what I was doing, and I knew the ins and outs of this deck and how to mulligan. I know none of that. And this deck is powerful. So I will probably play this deck a little bit more. I'm thinking I might do Heliod Company if I have the cards for the next Kano Tryharding Modern. Like I said, we're going to be taking a little bit of a break from Mono Green Tron, simply because I'm getting tired of playing it, and I'm getting tired of, barely scraping by with it, and it's starting to feel really samey. So I need to give it a rest. And then, unfortunately, there were no bans in the Modern format. Nothing to shake up the Modern format with the last ban announcement. It was only in Pauper that they made a ban list announcement. I don't know if that's because those are announced separately or what the deal is. I'm not 100% up on that, but I'm kind of hoping that they do something to shake up the Modern format, or at least offer more punishment for greedy mana bases. With the printing of something like the World Tree, my gut instinct is that is not what is going to happen, but I can still hope. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few have been earlier. And I hope to see you there. So thank you all so much for watching. I want you to know that you're all wonderful human beings, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!